Welcome back. Treachery, privilege, power. Some of the themes coursing through HBO's mega hit show Succession since it debuted almost 5 years ago.
It's gonna get nasty. Okay, buckle up.
Succession's finale, which drops Sunday night here in the US, is no tragedy. In fact, critics and social media largely agree that the last ever episode delivered a knockout finish to the pitch-black comedy drama. Fans have long said the story of monster media mogul Logan Roy and his hapless children is Shakespearean in its scope. A piercing look at global influence and what people would do to hang on to it. Succession's creator Jesse Armstrong has described the series as a tragedy. But today there is only sorry for fans that it's over. And unlike Roman Roy, you can bet many haven't pre-grieved. Well, Brian Cox, who played the Titan of the series, will turn 77 on Thursday. And despite decades of acclaim for his stage work and dozens of Hollywood films, it's the Succession obsession that will probably cement his fame for years to come.
Straight. We've been schooled by a barbarian that goes by the name Logan Roy.
I mean, he's out of control.
Well, Brian Cox, however, is very much in control, and he sat down with our own Becky Anderson recently and began by pointing out that he is very different to Logan Roy.
Logan is a man of very few words, and I am not a man of very few words. In fact, I use far, as you can witness even now, I use far too many words, which don't always serve me. But it's also because, you know, I'm in love with language. Logan is a misanthrope. He's a really unhappy man. And his problem is, it would be much easier if he didn't love his children. That's his problem. That's his Achilles heel, is he loves his children. So that's always been the difficulty of dealing with these children who are, and it's, again, it's a satire. It's such a reflection on our life at the moment. That sense of entitlement that those kids have. Now, Logan doesn't feel that. Because for Logan, and this is what's so important, and people go on and compare and say, oh, it's like, you know, they're like the Murdochs, or they're like the Trumps, or they're like the Black family, and you go, you know, the big difference between Logan and all those guys is he's self-made. He didn't inherit anything. It all came from nothing. And it came through disillusion, and so I see his background as one of immense, tremendous disillusion.
The opposition, cut their throats! We are pirates!
Are you loving it?
I've always loved it, let's face it. I'm playing the leading role in the best series in television. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. I mean, what's there not to love? You know, I mean, it's been a great opportunity for me. At my age, you know, I mean, and when people used to say, you know, Brian, it'll be the long haul for you. They used to say that to me. That was the older actors said, oh, it's going to be the long haul. I didn't know it was going to be this long.
Born and brought up in the tough working class environment of what was then Dundee, and continues to be a fantastic but tough city. How did you get out of Dundee and get into the acting, which of course took you down to London as a youngster?
I just think I was very blessed in the sense that right from childhood, I had a vision clearly of what I wanted to do. I didn't know what it was, but I remember it was to do with, I remember New Year, Hogmanay, when we all used to get together. My father was a great, you know, he was a quiet man, but he created a sort of social center for people to come to. And particularly in New Year, they would all come in and songs would be sung. And my sister May, who was a tremendous singer, would sing 1 o'clock in the morning. And I just remember the feeling in the room. I remember how the room transformed. There was this kind of harmony, and it never left me. And I thought, what is that? And then, of course, when I fell in love with acting and going to the cinema and seeing what was going on in the cinema, I thought, this is what I want to do. It was a kind of, I mean, and that, I got that sensation from the age of 4.
And that was Brian Cox with our Becky Anderson. Well, finally, Beijing's beloved giant panda Yaya has returned to the Beijing Zoo. Yaya spent 2 decades on loan in the US at the Memphis Zoo in Tennessee, but Starting in about 2021, animal advocates claim she was not being given proper care, an accusation the zoo repeatedly denied. The controversy became a symbol of the antagonism between Washington and Beijing. And upon arriving in China, Yaya quarantined in Shanghai for a couple of weeks, and then the Beijing Zoo welcomed her back, and they say that her health is now stable. Well, thanks so much for joining us in this edition of Connect the World. I'm Lynda Kinkade. Do stay with us. One World with my colleague and friend Zane Asher is next.